the environmental crisis and sustainable development. It is concerned with the process of structuring public space in the city at a time when the global environment appears increasingly fragile. Any discussion of city planning and urban design which does not address environmental issues has little meaning at a time of increasing population, pressures on a declining natural resource base, widespread ecological destruction, increasing pollution, ozone layer depletion, and climate change. The long-term survival of the planet as a vehicle for sustained human occupation in anything other than a degraded lifestyle is in some doubt. In these circumstances, any discussion of the aesthetic of city planning in a pure of abstract from unrelated form unrelated to environmental concerns could be described as superficial. Architecture and its sisters art, urban design, are said to consist of commodity, firmness, and delight. In Walton, 1969. Commodity in any urban development is sustainability. That is a development which is non-damaging to the environment and which contributes to the city's ability to sustain its social-economic structures. The pursuit of sustainable city structures presupposes also the development of a built environment of quality. One that delights environmental quality in the city is in part determined by aesthetic values. Carmona et al. In 2003. Over a decade ago, Calthorpe in 1993 in the US outlined his principles of the transit-oriented development, an agenda that many in this country could still accept as a general guide. In summary, the principles of transit-orientated development are: number 1, organize growth in a regional level so that it is compact and transit supportive. Number 2, locate commercial, housing, jobs, parks, and civic uses within walking distance of transit stops. Number 3, design pedestrian-friendly street networks which directly connect local destinations. Number 4, housing should be a mix of densities, tenure, and cost. Number 5, sensitive habitat, riparian zones, and high-quality open space should be preserved. Number 6, public spaces should be the focus of building orientation and neighborhood activity. And lastly, number 7, encourage infill and redevelopment along transit corridors within existing neighborhoods.
So hello everyone, today in an environmental problem. This production refers to the production of what of the food, meaning since that how can a society supply also into a self-sustaining population. For example, they have assumed that from 18 people, they have assumed that.
Hello, this is Renavo Krista Sator, and I'm gonna report energy in the city and biodiversity. First, we're gonna report energy in the city. Much of the atmospheric pollution is caused by the burning of fossil fuels in the creation of energy to support city life. This energy is used in various ways in the building of city structures or energy capital, during the lifetime of the structure, and in the transportation of people from one place to another. Therefore, the design of cities and the ways in which they are used have a great impact on the natural environment. Few serious environmental scientists believe that we are running out of energy to sustain our civilization, that it can be called the energy problem. This energy problem does not mean that we're running out of resources in any global sense, but rather of the energy alone or of rising monetary costs of energy. Another energy product that is mostly used is oil. Oil is the most versatile and most valuable of the conventional fuels that has now provided for all our city-building energy needs. It remains today the largest contributor to world energy supply, accounting for nearly all the energy used in transport. However, the bulk of recoverable conventional oil resources appear to lie in the Middle East, a politically unstable part of the world, as the recent war in Iraq demonstrates. Much of the rest of the recoverable resources lies offshore and in other difficult or environmentally fragile locations. Next is the nuclear energy, which currently contributes about 6% of global energy production, has long-term problems of pollution and the storage of waste material. There are also other problems with nuclear energy. Breeder reactors produce large amounts of plutonium that can be used for weapon production, such as atomic bombs. And without a careful product procedure of energy, this might cause health problems, a security problem so significant that it may preclude the use of this technology. Problems with both oil and nuclear power presents urban designers with the challenge of developing urban structures less dependent upon these conventional sources of energy for their continuing existence. Next, we have biodiversity. There is a danger that losses to biodiversity resulting from man's activities could reduce the resilience of ecosystems to withstand climatic variations and air pollution damage. It is sufficient to note here that since 1992, on the whole conditions have deteriorated. Still many species are becoming extinct or endangered. Habitat loss continues, including the great forests of the world, which are being exploited and cleared for development. Significant progress has been made in abating acid rain, although much still needs to be done, and major efforts are underway to stem deforestation and to address the tsunami of extinction. But it is crucial to remember that whereas deforestation and acid rain are theoretically reversible, although there may be a threshold past which remedy is impossible, extinction is not.
The next topic for environmental crisis and sustainable development is climate change. Climate change is upon us, and that matters can only get worse as the human race is killing the planet. There is uncertainty about the exact trace gas emissions which will enter the atmosphere and the precise fuel mix will be used in the future. Uncertainty about the nature and extent of ecological changes will be brought about by pollution. In particular, there is uncertainty about the ways in which the climate will respond either at global or regional context. Above all, there is great uncertainty about the ways in which man will respond to any changes to the environment that may occur. As human response to a real environmental threat may be part of a natural adaptation process and include responses at a personal, institutional, or governmental level. The next topic is sustainable development. Sustainable development is a development that meets the need of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. It is a movement towards a greater social equity for both moral and practical reasons. There seems to be a widespread agreement that solving global problems means the adoption of policies and programs that lead to sustainable development. The pursuit of a sustainable future for the human race in an environment of quality will require the design of effective policies and programs which directly address the related problems of unsustainable activities and environmental degradation. Sustainable development without the political pain that would accompany a reduction of resources requires some level of growth in order to present an accurate of well-being and a true picture of environmental depreciation.
Hello, I am Johnny Tagores and I am assigned to tackle about the environmental impact. As we define environmental impact, it is defined as any change to the environment, whether adverse or beneficial, resulting from facilities activities, products, or services. In other words, it is the effect that people's actions have on the environment. Central to sustainable development is the assessment of urban projects in terms of their environmental impact. A useful tool used to determine negative environmental impacts is an Environmental Impact Assessment or EIA. The European Community Directive on Environment Impact Assessment specifies the types of project for which an EIA is mandatory. These include large-scale projects such as oil refineries, power stations, and motorways. Environmental considerations have now become important for projects such as shopping centers, car parks, multiplex cinemas, leisure centers, and sports stadia. The EIA procedure is potentially of great significance for achieving a sustainable urban environment of quality. So we have checklists for assessing impacts of urban developments. First is local economy. We have impact on public finances, impact on business, impact on employment, change in land values, impact on supporting grants of other agencies, and impact on land tenure. Next is we have local environment. We have impact on air quality, impact on water resources, surface or ground, changes in noise and vibration, impact on greenbelt and open spaces, impact on natural habitats, species, and vegetation, and in changes in land use and densities. Third is the aesthetic and cultural values. We have impact on urban patterns, visual impacts and effects on buildings, impact on cultural heritage and designated areas, impact on amenity and personal security, impact on community cohesion and identity, and impact on minority groups and equal opportunities. Last is the infrastructure. We have impact on public utilities, impact on public services and facilities, impact on emergency services, impact on public transportation, and impact on health and safety. So we have our conclusion. The objectives for an agenda of urban design and a regime of sustainable development would emphasize conservation of both the natural and built environments. There is a need to use already developed areas in the most efficient and effective way while making them more attractive places which to live and work. Principles of sustainable urban design would place priority on the adaptation and reuse of existing buildings, infrastructure, and roads, together with the reuse of recycled building materials and components. Sustainable development places a premium on the conservation of natural resources, wildlife, and habitat protection. It may be prudent to conceptualize urban structure as integral to the bioregion and the countryside as integral to the urban structure, in which case the countryside, along with its capacity for food production, would be considered to penetrate right to the heart of the city. In other words, there are some places want to conserve their natural resources to protect the wildlife and the nature. They would rather choose both the natural and built environment to sustain the needs of the environment just to make it more attractive. In environmental impact, people should take an action that can protect from the negative impact in the environment. Some negative impacts like the structure of oil refineries, power stations, and motorways. This would cause the negative results in the environment. That would be all. Thank you.